My name is Dana Margaritas. I'm the Assistant Manager Building Permits, and I'd like to introduce the presenters to you today. Today we're going to have Jody Pack. She's the Plans Exam Specialist from Comprehensive Planning over the Zoning Division. We got Debbie Lay, Public Works. She's a Senior Plans Checker. Amy Korn is our Senior Engineer and Architect, specializing in the Structural Plan Review Work Group. We have Ava, one of our Management Assistants. Eric Shalon, he is an Assistant Manager over Plans Exam. Emily Bernard is a Supervising Building Permit Specialist over our Permit Issuance Work Group. Troy Wilson is a Building Permit Specialist working in our Fee Workup Work Group. And Matt Brewer is our Manager of Inspections. New commercial buildings consist of occupied buildings such as new retail, office, warehouses, places of worship, and apartments and condos. Occupied buildings will receive a certificate of occupancy. New commercial buildings also include shell buildings constructed for future use and occupancies. Shell buildings cannot be occupied and will receive only a certificate of completion. New miscellaneous structures include freestanding shade structures, fuel canopies, sculptures, aircraft hangars, media walls, freestanding EV chargers, and paint spray booths. Some miscellaneous structures may be exempt from a permit, such as playground equipment, some temporary structures, construction trailers on an active job site. So you can check our administrative code, section 2202-190, for a full list of exemptions. Community pools are pools constructed on commercial properties intended for public use, such as community pools, hotels, casinos, and recreation centers. Note, all permits are processed electronically. Contractors need to make sure their contractor's license is a link to their Citizens Access account in order to pull the permit. So let's go over some plan submittal requirements. So here we have examples of the building permit and pool permit applications. Building permit application will need to be submitted for new commercial buildings and miscellaneous buildings and structures. At the top of the application, you'll want to check the box next to commercial and then complete the requested information. It is important to include the valuation on the application. A commercial checklist should also be completed. The form will let you know all the required documents and plans that need to be included in the submittal. It is also a helpful document when you're submitting for shared plans. For new pools, you will want to complete the commercial pool application and have your electrical contractor fill out the sub-permit application. Both applications need to be submitted when you're applying for your commercial pool permit. Our website contains how-to guides that can assist you with submittal requirements. We have a building permit guide for commercial buildings, shell buildings, tenant improvements, manufactured buildings, and there's one for pools, spas, and water features. Please note the commercial pools will have to have approved Southern Nevada Health District plans included in their submittal. There are also industry reference guides that are helpful. For example, the Nevada Board of Professional Engineers and Land Surveyors has a guide on the requirement of a digital signature for engineered prepared plans and calculations. The 2020 Blue Book provides a summary and guide to Nevada statutes, regulations, and policies governing the construction industry. And then the Southern Nevada Building Officials, also known as SNOBO, has standard designs for structures such as fences, walls, and patio covers. If you're going to use a SNOBO standard, please ensure it is to the 2024 code year, since we are no longer accepting submittals designed to the 2018 code. Here we also have listed some common additional information requests that we write for new commercial buildings. Your submittal will not be accepted if there is missing, incomplete, or incorrect information on the forms or documents, such as no valuation on the application, or if you submit a soils report that is over 1 year old. The plans will not be accepted if the signatures or stamps are missing, or if the plans are prepared by a design professional outside the state of Nevada, or if the code analysis lists the wrong code year. If the plans include buildings or structures that are not a part of the scope of work for the permit, they will need to be marked not a part on the plans. And if the plans include a prefabricated building, the building cannot be deferred. and must have an approved fabricator. Separate permits are required for fencing, carports, EV chargers, site lighting, grease and sand oil interceptors, generators, solar permits, irrigation meters, pools, glass pool barriers, and signage. One set of plans can be reviewed simultaneously for multiple permits. We call this a shared plan submittal. Shared plans can include additional buildings, demising walls, spray booths, mixing rooms, trash or equipment enclosures, or grease interceptors. Permits that cannot share plans include site lighting, site walls and fencing, EV chargers, carports, generators, solar permits, pools and spas, or signs. One thing to consider before you submit a shared plan package is that all permits cannot be issued until all the approved plans. So if the plans include two buildings, such as a building B, may hold up the issuance of building A. We cannot separate plans after they are submitted as a shared plan package. Also, after issuance, all revisions are to be submitted under the respective permits, as revisions cannot share plans. Some answers to some frequently asked questions can be found on our website. For example, permit exemptions can be found in section 2202-190 of our administrative code. So if you have questions on whether or not the permit you need requires a permit, you can check there. You can find out which jurisdiction your project is located in using the jurisdiction locator. There's also a fee calculator that will go into greater detail later on in the presentation. We also get questions about fire protection reports. They are required for facilities with complex fire protection aspects. Complex facilities include high rises, malls, hospitals, and other institutional uses, some amusement buildings, and fire effects. We have a building permit guide, BPG 052. It's a fire protection report design, and it's available on our website as well. Another common question we get is how to respond to additional information requests. In the plan room, go to the upload section. You're going to click resume and then click continue until you get to the finish button. Once you click finish, the status will change from waiting on customer to pending, and you'll receive an email notification letting you know that we have received your plans for process. If you have any questions regarding the submittal process, please email our plan submittal team at eplansubmittal@clarkcountynv.gov. Now we're going to talk about zoning, and I'd like to introduce you to Jody.
Hi there, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I apologize in advance for any background noise. We have some construction happening in the office. So.
Okay, Jody.
Okay, so main concern is land use. So all new commercial buildings will require an approved land use from current planning. Miscellaneous buildings, depending on the location, size, design, and material, might require land use. We always need a site plan. We need approved grading and or offsites. The site plan must match your approved offsite or grading plan. Miscellaneous buildings and structures may require prior approved offsites or grading. What we're checking is setbacks from one of the main things we're checking for is setbacks from property lines and from streets, separation between structures, if any. Streets need to be shown on the site plan. Everything must be labeled as existing or proposed, and landscaping is required per code or per the land use. If you have any questions, our email is cpzoningplanscheck@clarkcountynv.gov.
Thank you, Jody. And now I'm going to go over Public Works, and I'll introduce Debbie.
Hello, good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So my part of the review, it's sometimes confusing to people because it shows up as the civil review on building permits, which corresponds with Public Works permits and the Public Works review of permits. As Jody stated, for most commercial buildings, we too start with land use approvals for commercial buildings, some additions or accessory structures. It is determined on a case-by-case basis. When we have a planning application, we have staff that look at what is proposed and they determine what conditions are required. Any Public Works conditions of the land use approval, which are listed on your NOFA, Notice of Final Action, they must be met before a civil step can be approved. Most commercial buildings will require a drainage study, traffic study, and offsite improvement permit. Civil request, the civil review, will request a copy of those approved offsites to the plan room so that the offsite permit and the building permits are consistent. So they should be the same stamped approved offsites that are uploaded to the record for any commercial buildings. All structures and accessory structures are reviewed on the civil plans. The approved civil plans shall be used for all permit types, whether it's the building, it's a wall, it's a trash enclosure. I mean, you just use that plan over and over, depending on what you're doing. The offsite is a separate review taking place at Public Works. So that would typically be under your PW application. It is up to the applicant to coordinate all the building permit comments with the engineer of record so that all plans come together and are consistent. What we don't want is your offsites to not show what may be geotechnical requested on the plans. So make sure you're coordinating all those comments. Follow the how-to guide checklist for grading to know what is required. So that's just basic information. It is the list that's used by the building department as well as Public Works. It's on both of our websites. All of our that how-to guide and all of our processes, our applications, other resources, code references, everything is on our website under Public Works Development Review. So if you have questions, go to that. Any of our applications or documents or forms or agreements that we require as part of our process are on that same website under forms. Some projects, depending on what it is, they don't require a separate Public Works application, such as maybe it's an addition to a commercial structure and the land use did not require a drainage study and the offsites may be existing. In the case that there were no other specific other Public Works reviews required, then I will simply be doing the civil review along with your other like zoning and geotechnical comments. So it is case by case. And once I open any permit, then I'm determining what is required or what I'm trying to piece together as far as what those no conditions are. One of the common questions we get, on various permit types, most commercial permits, commercial buildings, I should say, they require a civil clearance as part of the inspections, which is somewhat confusing to some. The applicant or contractor shall schedule an offsite inspection prior to finalization of their building permit. This is to ensure that the offsites are complete or were not damaged. So let's just say there was no offsites required with your project. Maybe you're even doing just an addition. There is sometimes a civil review required to get our inspector out there to make sure no damage was done to the existing curb, gutter, sidewalk, etc. So any inspections with Public Works are done by phone at the number listed there, 455-4610. If you have any questions, our office number is 455-4600. As I said before, on our website, you can find any of the guides, the references, all of our contact information. So depending on which one you're trying to follow. One thing to note is Acela is the same for Public Works as it is the building department. So if you're looking at the status of a permit, you can do so with the Citizens Access portal. And then, you can see if it's in review or waiting on customer, that kinds of thing. And if you have any questions, my email's on the website, my email's often on your reviews, and just email me directly, let me know. Thanks.
So now we're going to discuss the engineering review, and here is Amy.
Hello, the engineering group consists of the structural and geotechnical plan review groups, and the review teams verify compliance to the currently adopted code, which is currently IBC 2024 and the Southern Nevada Amendments and Reference Standards. The documents that are reviewed include, but are not limited to, structural plans, structural calculations, truss or joist calculations, any other deferred structural items like stairs or railings, geotechnical reports, and grading plans. Structural plans and calculations are prepared and sealed by a Nevada registered design professional, and they are required unless the following are used in the applicable commercial setting and is approved for the currently adopted code cycle. One is previously approved CCBD standard plans. Second is structural designs previously approved by the state of Nevada. The third are systems structurally approved for national use through an ICC accredited laboratory. Or the fourth is SNOBO regional standards, which Dana had previously mentioned. And any deviations from the previously approved items will require site-specific designs from a Nevada registered design professional. Deferred structural designs are permitted with exception to structural members that provide stability to the building, including the lateral force resisting systems and their connections. The exception to this are standard plans. For those application types, deferred submittals are not permitted at all. Any deferred submittals must be clearly listed on the structural plan general notes. You can see BD-PP-219 for any additional information on those requirements and the inspection hold points for each deferred design item. Seismic provisions and detailing for the structure must be addressed in the structural plans and calcs, even where wind load controls the lateral design. The special inspection statement must be provided by the Nevada registered design professional in responsible charge. It can't just be any engineer that's involved with the project, and it cannot require less than what is necessary per IBC 2024 Chapter 17 or the manufacturer's evaluation report. If the structural engineer of record requests for special inspections despite meeting a code exception, that special inspection will be placed as per their request. And please note that all commercial concrete pools and spas require concrete special inspections. There is no exception to that. Structural observations are required for structures that are risk category 3 or 4, high-rise buildings, structures assigned to seismic design category E and is greater than 2 stories above grade plane, when it is requested by the structural engineer of record, or when the building official deems it warranted. Note that structural observations and special inspections are 2 different things. One cannot replace the other. TG10 posted on the CCBD website provides additional information on what is required for a structural or geotechnical observation plan. A summary of those submittal items are a written observation plan that meets the minimum requirements stated in TG10, the owner's written statement of the selected observer, and a written acknowledgement statement from the selected observer with license numbers and field observers listed on that statement as well. Commercial pools do not require a SOLS report so long as the presumptive values per the ISPSC Nevada Amendment is utilized for design. If a soils report is used to justify a lateral bearing pressure less than 60 pounds per square foot per foot for the design of a pool, then grading special inspections will be placed accordingly, and the soils report must meet the requirements of the Southern Nevada Building Code Amendment 1803.6. A one-page letter of the site conditions is not acceptable, and any surcharge loading due to site conditions must be accounted for in the pool design. A site-specific soils report is required for projects that require new foundations unless it meets the listed exceptions and designed to soil presumptive values per SNBCA 1803.2. The exceptions include single-story structures, additions, or remodels with a footprint less than 600 square feet, fences, site retaining walls less than 6 feet in retained height, modular buildings that do not have concrete or masonry foundations, carports and signs, light poles, and communication towers less than 40 feet in height. Soil presumptive values include an allowable soil bearing value for vertical foundation pressure of 1,000 pounds per square foot, lateral bearing pressure of 100 pounds per square foot per foot, a coefficient of friction of 0.25, and an exposure class S2. These values may be increased by 1/3 with the alternate basic load combos that include wind or earthquake loads only. If those are not considered, then the increase cannot be taken. Note that a project that meets the exception but uses higher values do need a soils report for justification and special inspections as warranted. The soils report must be prepared and sealed by a Nevada registered design professional and meet the requirements of SMBCA 1803.6. The report must be for the currently adopted code and must be current within the last 12 months or be accompanied by an update letter addressing the current scope of work and the current site conditions based on a recent site visit. The 3 statements that must be included are the date of the latest site visit and the previous report has been reviewed, state that the new engineer is in agreement with the recommendations in the geotech report and any revisions to the recommendations clearly noted, and that the new sealing engineer is the new geotechnical engineer of record as applicable. When a soils report is required, an additional coordination statement from the geotechnical engineer that indicate they have reviewed the grading and foundation plans and confirmed it is consistent with the stated geotechnical recommendations must be submitted. The geotechnical recommendations, such as any slab subgrade preparations and minimum footing and slab reinforcement, must be shown on the structural or architectural plans. A reference back to the soils report is not acceptable. All projects that require grading shall have a grading plan prepared, stamped, and signed by a Nevada registered design professional. Projects that are located outside a flood hazard area may be exempt from a grading plan if it is one of the listed items. Structures, additionals, or remodels with a footprint less than 600 square feet, any mobile homes, trailers, and modular buildings that are not considered real property, carports, and signs, light poles, and communication towers. For a full list of requirements for grading plans, you can see SNBCA Appendix J104.2. Please note that many of these items overlap with the Public Works Civil Division requirements. However, both Public Works and Building Grading Plan requirements need to be addressed on the same set of grading plans, so that'll be very important. If a commercial site has multiple building pads, a separate grading permit is required. The same grading plans shall be used between the grading permit and the building-only permits, and any grading special inspections will be placed on the grading permit unless noted otherwise. For any additional questions or concerns, feel free to send them to dsengineer@clarkcountynv.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And now we're gonna go over plans exam, and I'll introduce you to Derek. Derek, are you there?
Yes, can hear me?
I can.
Oh, good afternoon. As of January 11th, all projects submitted to building department for permitting are required to be designed to the following codes: the 2024 Energy Code, Building Code, Residential Code, existing building code, international or swimming pool and spa code, Uniform Mechanical Code, Uniform Plumbing Code, and the 2023 National Electrical Code, 2024 International Fire Code, all with local amendments, in addition to the Clark County Building Administrative Code, and I believe that's the 2018 right now. Current codes, ordinances, local amendments, code interpretations, and technical guidelines, policies, and procedures. Archived codes and forms may be viewed using this link on our website. Plans exam will notify you when separate permits are required for miscellaneous structures. These can include, but are not limited to, trash enclosures, freestanding electrical vehicle charging stations, grease interceptors, signage, on-site water and sewer, carports, awnings, site lighting, or underground conduit, retaining walls, masonry walls, or site walls in general, fire sprinklers and alarms. It is the responsibility of the design professional to provide on the cover sheet the items in their plans they have identified as requiring separate permits. If it's lacking, or additional items require separate permits, we'll notify you. In addition to a section on the cover sheet for separate permits, the design professional should provide a section titled Deferred Submittals. Deferred items can be building elements identified as part of the original scope of work, but the specific details and complete design for such elements may still be undetermined. The plans should clearly depict the deferred building elements conceptually, and the plans should clearly indicate that the item will be deferred. Deferred items include, but are not limited to, steel stairs, trusses, smoke control diagrams, curtain walls, etc. For further information, consult policy BD-VP-219. The following information currently missed on new construction submittals and results in comments being issued. Clear and complete code analysis. It should include codes and year of design, type of construction, occupancy classification, occupant load and load factors used, allowable area versus actual floor area, allowable actual building height, allowable versus actual stories, exit analysis, fire resistive requirements, plumbing fixture analysis, required versus provided. Scope of work, sometimes it's missed. We need a scope of work that's clearly identified and detailed, that describes what is being constructed or the nature of the work. Wall types, both on the plans and in the schedule. Wall types should be noted on plans and should be provided in a schedule. If there are different wall types on the same grid line, the plans should clearly show where one stops and the other begins. Egress plans, missing items might include common path of travel, measurements, exit access travel distances, occupant load for each room or space, occupant load discharged at each exit. For emergency lighting and exit signs, we want a fixture schedule, location on the plans for the exit signs and all the emergency lighting. Interior finish materials are not identified. Test certificates not provided for Class A and B materials. Accessibility, identify the accessible routes. Floor plans with elevations, restroom details, interior elevations, kitchen details, fully dimensioned floor plans. And with the adoption of the 2024 International Energy Conservation Code, the following information is required for new construction. Details shall include but not limited to the following as applicable: energy compliance path, installation materials and their R values, fenestration U factors and solar heat gain coefficients, area weighted U factor and solar heat gain coefficient calculations, air barrier and air sealing details, including location of the air barrier, thermal bridges as identified in section C402.7, mechanical system design criteria, mechanical system service, water, heating systems and equipment types, sizes and efficiencies, economizer description, equipment and system controls, fan motor horsepower and controls, duct sealing, duct and piping, pipe installation and location, lighting fixture schedule with wattage and control narrative, location of daylight zones on floor plans, location of pathways for routing of raceways or cable from the on-site renewable energy system to the electrical distribution equipment, location reserved for inverters, metering equipment, energy storage systems, and a pathway reserved for routing of raceways of conduit from the renewable energy storage system to the point of interconnection with the electrical service and the energy storage system. Location and layout of a designated area for the energy storage system, rated energy capacity and rated power capacity for the installed or planned energy storage system. Shell buildings will require an energy compliance documents. For any questions, please email us at buildingservices@clarkcountynv.gov or call 702-455-8011. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarek. So we're gonna go over plan coordination, and here's Emily.
Thank you, Dana. Hello, everyone. Once all the departments have reviewed and approved your plans, the permit is forwarded to the plan coordination team. At this point, any required conditions for prior to permit issuance are added. The following are examples of types of conditions that may be applied depending on your project: water, sewer, dust, septic, inspection agreements, new building or revised building applications, subcontractor declaration forms. If you need any assistance, you can always reach out to our permit issue team directly at the e-plan issuance at clarkcountynv.gov.
And now for a fee workup, here's Troy.
Hello, everybody. Fee workup occurs once all the workflow tasks have been completed by all the departments involved in the process. The fee workup team members assesses the fees which are based on the project valuation. The project valuation is determined by the total value of work, including materials and labor. The complete definition in the 2018 Administrative Code can be found on our website under the Services tab, then Library, Codes and Ordinances. See the fee workup calculator on our website by selecting the Services drop down on the left side. Then select a permit issue drop down, then Fees Calculator. On the next page, select Fee Calculator. If the permit is for a new building or an addition, development impact fees may apply. On the Fee Calculator page, you will select Fee Calculator as demonstrated on the screen with the arrow for you. New commercial buildings will have development impact fees. This information can be found in the fee workup calculator. You can select the hyperlink next to the impact fee for more information. At the top of the page, select permit to calculate the fees for a building permit. But something I do want to note here is the transportation tax. This is the tax specific to commercial, brand new commercial, as well as new industrial buildings. The commercial transportation tax is calculated and charged based on the square footage of the structure found inside of the construction plans. For example, if a new 5,000 square foot commercial building is being constructed, the transportation tax will be $5,000 as $1 per square foot. Next slide, please. On the fee calculator page, please input a project valuation according to the admin code of Title 22. After inputting the valuation, the calculator shall generate an itemized list of fees associated with the project. Please note, impact fees are not calculated in the example provided, as some fees may or may not apply to the project. In the example on the screen, we see a valuation of $10,000, and just directly to the right, it does generate the fees. However, the commercial transportation tax is not present, as that is calculated based upon the square footage as previously mentioned in the slide before this. Thank you. The restamp. When a permit is in pending fee workup status, the data entry and approval stamps are verified. If there is missing information in Excel or the plans do not have the appropriate stamps, the permit will be put back into review for a restamp. This is ensuring a complete set of plans is issued with the permit. Once the restamp has been completed, the permit will go to fee workup, where the fee calculation is completed. Once fees are completed, the permit issuance workflow is completed. This moves the permit to ready to issue status, and the contact person is sent 2 emails. As you see below on the screen, the email on the left, this one is going to show the invoice, an itemized list of each fee that is associated with it, versus the email on the right side of the screen, which will give you a list of conditions that must be met prior to the fees being paid for according to the project. Fees for new commercial pools are assessed differently than other new structures. A building plan review, zoning plan review, building permit fees will be assessed on the commercial pool. The valuation plus a $110 equipment plumbing fee. Now, the electrical plan review and permit fee will be assessed based on the electrical contractor's valuation and collected on the electrical permit. The electrical fees cannot be paid for by the pool contractor. If you have any questions regarding fees for your projects, you are more than welcome to contact the fee workup department at CCBD permit fees at clarkcountynv.gov.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And now we're going to go over permit issue, and here's Emily again.
Thank you, Dana. As Troy stated, all contacts get the prior to permit issuance email with the list of conditions. Just keep in mind that all prior to permit issuance conditions must be met before the system will allow payment. Some of the conditions are sent to our team directly to a system at the e-plan issuance at clarkcountynv.gov. Others, like sewer and water, have to be signed off directly by those jurisdictions. To view a list of conditions of approval, please visit our webpage, select Services on the left side of the page, then select Permit Issuance, and then select Conditions of Approval. On there is a list of all the possible conditions that could be added to your permit and how to go about obtaining the approvals. Once all the conditions have been met, only the designated contact may submit payment online. Accepted payment methods include credit cards, bank account e-checks, or trust accounts. After the payment is processed, the customer will receive an email with copies of their receipt and copies of their permit. Then the approved plans will be made available for download by the contact. If you have any questions regarding wire transfers or how to set up trust accounts, please contact our finance department directly using the email address shown on this slide. If you have or need any assistance, you can always please reach out to our permit issue team directly, and we'll be happy to assist you at eplanissuance@clarkcountynb.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. And now we're gonna go over inspections, and here's Matt.
Thank you, Dana. So the intent of field inspections is to verify that a legal current permit has been issued. The scope of the permit matches the work being performed. The contractor is working from an approved set of construction documents, and the work being performed meets what is depicted on the plans and at least base code. Everybody said it, but there's a slide to remind you that the effective date for the new code cycle started January 11th, 2026. These are what the codes look like. We also have all new amendments to these codes, and they can be found on our website under the Library and Services tab on our website. Okay, next slide, please. Now, there's a lot to field inspection, so more than I can put into this slide. I just want to make sure everybody has our contact information. If you have any questions about inspections, TCOs, or CFOs, please don't hesitate to call us. You can obtain your inspector's contact information from our website by selecting the Services tab on the left-hand side, then selecting Inspections, and then Assignment Areas, and that'll bring up the list of all the building inspector contacts. Or you can also find the list by going to the building assignment area map. And the area map, as depicted on the lower right-hand corner there, shows you all the inspection supervisors assigned to the areas, and then the inspectors assigned to those areas under those supervisors are on the bottom of the page. Field inspections are performed Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We are half-staffed on Mondays and Fridays because we do split shifts to cover all 5 days. If you need to schedule inspections, you can go to the Citizens Access portal. You hover over the building tab, and then you select Schedule an Inspection. Or you can do it from our website by clicking on the safety vest. That'll take you to the next page that gives you the option to select either an in-person inspection or a video inspection. Video inspections are limited to a certain scope of type of inspection, water heaters, HVAC, solar. So just make sure that your project is eligible to do a video inspection. That will take you to a different software that you can schedule your inspections on if you're going that route. Or you can always contact our inspection desk at 702-455-8040, and the field services team will help you schedule inspections, can answer questions, or get you contact information for inspectors, and they can also get you get you in touch with a supervisor. But they can only help you if your permit's in issued status. If your permit's not in issued status, then you need to talk to one of the other divisions first. Okay, next slide. And if there's any questions, again, you can email the developing@clarkcountynb.gov email, or you can call the number or call any of those numbers on the contact list so we can help you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. So the disclaimer is this information is current at the time of the presentation, but our procedures are subject to change as we are dedicated to making improvements to our processes, improving our customer service. So you want to visit our website for up-to-date information on our programs. And then here are some additional links to our website. And so that concludes the presentation. And so I would like all Clark County staff to go ahead and turn on our cameras.